So what you are seeing right now is a nonlinear video editing software that I wrote in Rust with the help of AI from the last 4 days. And as you can see, this is a actual working video editing software. We have snapping. We can remove snapping, right? We have all those good stuff. This is not web technology. This is a native application written in Rust, and it is using GStreamer to do the video pipeline. And for the UI layer, I'm using GPUI open sourced from the Z video editor software. Because it's just 4 days, so the feature is not complete, but I already have the basic structure working. Now, the reason that I started this project is it's simple, but it's also complicated. So I have been a software engineer for 10 years, but for the last 2 years, I took a break. I quit my job and started to work on my own startup ideas. Several ideas, but all of them failed in different ways. Okay, it has been almost 2 years. I have to get back to the job market before I run out of money. So I started to apply for jobs, but all the response I got was rejections. However, one rejection letter gave me more confidence and actually gave me some courage to do this application. So we appreciate the time and effort you put into your application for the senior front-end engineer. We've just closed the senior front-end position as one of our finalists accepted the offer. Given that, we will need to stop the hiring process for that position. As for the backend engineer, we're seeking someone with a slightly different skill set for this senior position. Extensive industrial experience in the Rust programming language is essential for working on our architecture. You have an outstanding background, and we wish you well in your continued job search. So basically, one, they rejected me, but two, they also acknowledged that my background is okay, and three, because of Rust, I was like, yes, but like in the old days without AI, sure, it was very hard to learn Rust. It will take you 3 to 6 months to actually think as a Rust compiler. And also when companies are hiring Rust engineers, they're not just hiring like people who knows Rust syntax. They are hiring system engineers. I know that I have those engineering skills. I know like multi-thread programming, network programming. I have those skills. I'm not just a front-end engineer. Like I only learned front-end after I quit my job because I had to ship some features to the user. So I learned front-end as a byproduct of doing a startup myself. So I'm like, why not just learn Rust? And now AI is so powerful, so I can implement a real project in Rust to prove that at least I know some basic Rust. So that's why I started this project. Besides the video editor, we also have a video player. This is so smooth. This is more smooth than the native video editor in the macOS. And because I have been a content creator for a long time, I have used a lot of video editing softwares, and I was not happy to any of them. But before, I did not have the courage to actually challenge them and make my own. But now with powerful AI, I can actually do that because, and this is not web, right? This is not JavaScript or HTML. This is not Tori. This is, so basically the framework I am using is GPUI. It's made by the team behind that, and I really like it because maybe high-level language is not that high level, right? Because if you can say this is Rust, but the API is just Tailwind. This is not more complicated than CSS. And by the way, CSS plus HTML is a very complicated toolkit. Plus React or Svelte, all the state management and all the building, or the bundler, like web is not very high level. And the reason that we think C++ or Rust or any other low-level language is low level is only because we don't have a toolkit, we don't have an API that is high level enough to express those ideas. But GPUI just give us that. It is Rust, but in a tailwind semantics. And actually writing this is so easy. I have never wrote any serious Rust, but now 5,000 lines of code on average per day. Of course, and in the meantime, when I say some design or some data structure, then I will then ask AI, in this case GPT-5.6, so a high reasoning effort. I will ask AI to explain those design decisions and the implementation details for me. So the more I write with AI, the more I know Rust and actually know it from the important part. Like there's one feature that I really like. You implement some struct. So basically, you can define method on a struct in different files, and that is very helpful because then you still have, because each struct is like its own compilation unit, but so you still have all the methods under the same struct, so they share the same life cycle. So the runtime structure and the compile time or code organization are separated. I'm not like just vibe coding. Like when I say something that's not correct, I will tell AI to, okay, first explain your current design, why you design this way, and then we will work out something better, a new design and new architecture, and then we will implement it. So with AI, I can think at the very extreme low level, like actually what I write each line, all the way up to at the very high level, what kind of application I want to make. And actually, I spend more time in the high level than low level. I only spend time in low level when it's necessary and when I actually want to know something that I don't know. And it's kind of surprising that I can actually have a working, I can also export, for example, here, let's try it. So I actually got a basic working video editor in 3 days. Actually, this feature is all okay in like 2 days. And this actually gave me a lot of confidence that maybe I can make this a real project. Maybe. Of course, it's open sourced here in the Rust directory. My real goal is just to learn Rust by making a real project so that maybe I can apply for some Rust jobs. That's my goal, because it looks like that it's not very easy to have a JavaScript job now, because all the people are vibe coding and JavaScript is kind of cheap now, right? Like everybody know some HTML and React, and it's just so hard for you to actually convince people that you know more JavaScript than vibe coders, because just by vibe coding you can ship a lot of crazy stuff with JavaScript. But if I am lucky and if people like it, maybe this can become a real open source project that, I don't know, maybe 100 people or 1,000 people in the world will use it. But this idea, I actually started this idea more than like half a year ago, because half a year ago, I actually tried the same idea with Zeek, but I didn't go very far with Zeek because one, AI is just not as good as writing Zeek, because Zeek is newer language. But most importantly, the toolkit in Zeek is not that mature. The Zeek compiler and the language itself is, I believe, mature enough for my project, but I need a intermediate mode. I need a GUI framework, which is, there's no mature GUI framework in Zeek yet. The second thing is I need good bindings between Fmpeg or GStreamer with Zeek. and we don't have good bindings. If you look at Zig, you see I am binding FMPEG manually, which is not, of course, calling C code is easier in Zig than in Rust, so that's not a big problem, but still it's very annoying. Like Zig code is more low level than Rust code, because you have to manage your memory manually, and you have to decide every byte in your head. For a young programmer like me, I mean, I have 10 years experience, but I am a, like, maybe I'm a top 10% programmer. I'm not the top 1% programmer. So I have to invent a lot of foundational toolkit before I can actually dive into my video editor. But with Rust, since this code editor is Z, and I have been using Z for, I believe, more than 2 years, it has been very stable. I'm like, well, which means the Rust ecosystem has more mature toolkits that I can leverage. So that's why I chose Rust. Another thing is, like, in Rust you have closure. So if you pass a callback function into the UI event handler, you can use outer scope variables. But in Zig, that's not possible. So you have to pass any type pointer, and then you have to, inside the function, you cast it back. It will create a lot of type safety issues. So I just believe maybe in that way, Zig is not a very good language to write GUI code. The Rust syntax is actually very simple. It's actually not more complicated than TypeScript if you think about it. You can have a lot of crazy syntax in TypeScript. I probably use maybe 20% of the whole TypeScript stuff. And the building, the bundling is just easy in Rust. Anyway, so that is this project. And so this is my devlog number 1. And my next devlog will be maybe next week or something. Okay, yeah.